Hey there guys, I'm SonicGhost and welcome to a bonus episode of Let's Play Portal. Today we're going to be taking a look at the challenge maps in the bonus mode here. Now you have the same 6 test chambers that we had in the advanced test chamber series for this, and we have 3 different challenges that we have to do for each and every single one of these maps. Each challenge you have to do is least portals, least steps, and least time. Least portals means you only have to complete the test using the least amount of portals possible. Least steps, you have to complete each test with little amounts of steps possible, meaning you barely have to move yourself and you really have to rely on using portals. And least time is essentially a speedrun, just beat the test as fast as possible, whatever means necessary. The problem I have with this mode of Portal is all the times, all the steps, all the portal usage, it's all very, very strict. I mean, I have to get at least 4 portals to pass this. I need to use just at least 4 portals to pass this test chamber. And I'm going to be doing a little trick that I showed off in the Let's Play, where I'm going to be using the trick to use only 2 portals. So, it's really, really tricky just to get these. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these challenges, I think they intend you to do some of this stuff because the requirements for the max ranking, like I can only get 2 portals here and that's my max. The requirement for you to do some of this stuff, I'm very certain, is a requirement for you to use the tricks and glitches just like that. So I feel like a lot of this stuff is also developer intended and not just a glitch left in the game and never patched out or never noticed. But the problem is you have to do a lot of ridiculous stuff in these modes if you want to go ahead and get the best rank for each and every single trial for each and every single test. It gets pretty ridiculous. In my opinion, this mode is really not that enjoyable because of how strict everything is. I have not completed this, and in fact, the last one that we're going to be doing for least time, you're going to see I'm going to be getting achievements just for completing it because I've never done this before. Because it's just so difficult. But that was the least portals test. Now let's go ahead and try out a least steps test. This test, like I said earlier, you just have to move around with mostly portals. You can barely walk as each step you make counts towards you, so you really need to utilize your portals here and really fling yourself quite a lot. And this test we're also doing a little trick that just means we get straight to the end of the test just by using portals in the very beginning. You can actually do that with less steps obviously if you just flung yourself from the ceiling, but I didn't do that here. And I got myself at least bronze. I got myself 3rd place, but not even close to 2nd. I still needed to be under 20. These get pretty ridiculous, like I said. And that's why I'm not going to be doing all these, which is why we're just taking a look at least one test for a handful of these test chambers. Just because I don't want to do all these. These are very difficult. They're very time consuming. And like I said earlier, I haven't done all these yet. They're just not as fun as the main game to me. Not even as fun as the advanced test chambers, which are really challenging and can be frustrating. But to me, I find that they're still easier than doing the bonus maps like this. This just gets really ridiculous. And in fact, for this one, as you see, I'm going to be doing one more little trick, which also I think they intend for you to do if you want to get the best time here because of how fast you have to be. You really have to be fast in these time trials, as they really, really expect you to know these level designs, know the solutions, know exactly what to do, and do it fast. If I was a speedrunner and actually did full runs of this game, I wouldn't have a problem with this. But since I play this game casually and don't play it too much, this is really difficult for someone like me. But what I'm doing here is I'm taking this computer, I'm leaning against this door in just the right way. It has to be precise to get this to work. Essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this computer to line up with the door just right, so when I open it, it'll fall in between it. When the door tries to close, it will close on the computer, which means it'll be open just a crack. And that little crack that the door stays open will be just enough for me to shoot a portal through it onto the ceiling, skipping the entire turn section, which you have to do if you want the best time for this. So as you see, I'm stepping on the button there, the door is getting jammed. So I go over and I shoot a portal through the door before it shuts. And I take full advantage of this moment, and there you go. That just skipped the entire turn section, and that is pretty much a requirement if you want to go ahead and get the best time. Although I do screw up in the end here as I try to shoot the ledge to fling myself to the door. But because I'm so disoriented, my shot just barely misses, so I gotta go through this again. So if I was faster, I could have got a better time, but I'm not really doing this seriously. Maybe one day I'll complete these, but I'm not going to be doing it for a Let's Play because it's really not that interesting to watch me just try to do the same thing over and over and over again. It gets too repetitive. But that was all of the bonus maps I want to show off, all the challenges for it. I'm going to sound redundant by saying this again, but they're really difficult, really time consuming. That's why I just wanted to look at these real quick. But that's it in a nutshell for you. But there is one more thing I want to take a look at, which is the developer console. Essentially, in Portal, you can go ahead and enter in certain codes for the game that allow you to do many different things. So if you go ahead, press the tilde key, the key right underneath the escape key on the keyboard, you get to go ahead and get into this console, and you want to type in SV_cheats1. This will turn on cheats for the game, so you can turn on cheat like noclip, for example, and you can fly straight through the walls and go through anything. You can fly all over the map. Type in the same thing again, it'll turn it off. All these codes I am using, I will be putting in the description below if you want to try it for your game yourself. Keep in mind, this is a PC only thing, so if you're playing this game on the orange box with the consoles, you can't do this. So what I'm going to be doing here is no target, essentially meaning that turret can see me perfectly fine, and then I turn on no target, and all of a sudden I am not seen. These turrets become blind as shell. So you can take full advantage of that and do stupid stuff like, oh, I don't know, spawn in a ball maybe. So I'm going to enter the code for creating a sphere, which is the same type of sphere that we saw in the advanced test chambers. And right behind the turret becomes a sphere. Looked like he kind of pooped it out. Was not intended, but that was hilarious nonetheless. So you can do stupid things like that, for example. You can also spawn in cubes, which I did not do, but that will be in the description if you want to do that yourself. Now I want to show off another code. I'm going to go ahead and turn on Buddha. Buddha mode essentially means you can take damage as much as you want, but you will never die. So turning off no target, I demonstrate that I get shot up. I will not die, no matter how much I get shot. Doesn't even matter if I try to jump into a pit or get crushed. I'll stay living. I will never die. So I'm going to take full advantage of this, and I'm going to go ahead and fire an energy ball at the turret just because. And there you go. This is a little overkill. Just shoot out a big old thing of energy. These codes are very amusing. It's fun to mess around with the game like this. I don't do this all too often, but there are some codes that are pretty hilarious. And they're really worth showing off. In fact, one of the codes gets to show off the model of Shell. So we're going to go ahead right now and type in third person. And that essentially gives us a third person control in the game. We can actually see Shell now when playing. So we can actually use the third person mode of the game and see how well it would work out as a third person game. Portal is a weird game third person in all honesty. It works, but the controls are kind of disorienting at first just because you're not used to the over-the-hip kind of design. But they did animate Shell really nicely though, because you never get to see her in third person unless you're using this command on the PC version. It's just the only thing they didn't animate is the obvious no clip, which is when you're just flying around the sky. She enters her T-pose. But everything else she has animations for, which is really surprising. But there is one more code that I do want to show off here, and it is a really interesting one. So the code I'm going to be looking at now is Impulse 101. What this code does is it gives me all the weapons that you can use in the game, which includes weapons from the Half-Life series. So I get things like guns, rocket launchers, shotguns. I even get the gravity gun. So you have a wide variety of different things that you can use, which you're not supposed to be using in Portal, and I just found out about this not too long ago. This is really amusing to see, and a lot of these weapons don't really work in Portal just simply because they're not designed for a puzzle game. Like this one, for example, only really useful for Half-Life, but we have things like an RPG, which is really useful because there are rockets in Portal. So whatever needs a rocket, you get to go ahead and use a RPG for it instead. And as you can see down there in the bottom left, that is an active health bar. So whenever we take damage, that will show how much health we have, just like how the screen turns red. That is our health meter. And it's a fully functional health meter too, which is really, really interesting. Also, I do want to show off that some of these guns have a secondary effect. Like this one right here will actually shoot out energy balls, which is really, really useful and at the same time really amusing. This gun here will actually shoot out some grenades. And that's pretty much it for the secondary abilities. So yeah, we have a wide variety of different guns that we can use in Portal 2 just by entering this code, and it's really amusing to see that. And they do leave behind bullet marks and bullets as well, which is something that they would do in the Half-Life series. So yeah, that's really interesting, but there is also one other thing that we could do using things like noclip. We can go ahead, get to the very end of Portal. This is right before you would fight GLaDOS, and we can fly all the way down to where the cake room be located. The cake does actually exist in the game. So here we are. We're in the room with all these little metallic spheres, and we have the cake right in front of us. So we can do stupid things like we can go ahead and place portals in this room. You can't really place portals on the surface because this surface is not a white surface for portals. But we can go ahead and enter a code for that. There are 2 different codes for your portals that can be really useful. Portal Never Fail is the one you want to have, where you can just shoot a portal on any surface. There's another code that is called Portal Never Bump, which essentially allows me to do what I just did there, which portals can overlay each other. When you put on the Portal Never Fail, it automatically does that anyways. But what I'm doing here is I'm actually putting that companion cube on top of the cake, because you can do that. But there's a very specific reason why I did that, not just because I want to mess around. And you'll see in the very end of this. But with no clips still on, let's go ahead and fly all the way to GLaDOS, because now that we know how to use the impulse code to actually activate weapons like a rocket launcher, you can actually use those weapons in the final boss fight.
Well, you found me. Congratulations.
Well, let's go ahead and turn off noclip one more time here, and let's take a look at our portal placements. We can go ahead and shoot a portal here, and would you look at that, back in the cake room. So during the final segment of the game where you're getting sucked up in the air, you can actually return to this room and get sucked up, and you'll still go to the credits. It's really amusing. But you can actually use the rocket launcher on GLaDOS just like how the rockets would work in the fight. You can actually use grenades as well to blow off the cores on GLaDOS. So if you just want to beat the game real fast, you can turn on that code, use rocket launchers, use the grenades, and it makes the fight so much easier and so much faster. Although it's really tricky to aim with the grenade, so I just recommend you press right click, which will drop a grenade, and put it pretty much right next to GLaDOS. That will knock off a core. Because I was trying to swap to the portal gun, I accidentally shot off a rocket, and I didn't think I can do it with a grenade launcher, but I did it. I was actually able to hit GLaDOS. But here we are, and we're in the final credits section. We get to go ahead. We see our HUD still there from the impulse code. That doesn't go away, which is annoying, but not too big of a deal, because right here, we're going to go ahead and see the credits, right? Here comes the hand to put out the flame. Oh, it got stuck. Yeah, I really got stuck. I think my game just froze. Yes, it did. This is a soft lock. The game is continuously playing. I can go ahead, go to a menu, no problem right now, and quit the game if I wanted to. The credits are triggered by the flame being put out. So you can do stuff like this with no clip, for example. Fly down here, put the cube on top of the cake, just to essentially crash your game. But that's Portal for you. That's all the stuff I wanted to take a look at. Maybe one day I'll come back and look at the radio placements in a separate bonus episode, but I kind of want to just move on for now. Been focusing on this game for many months. It took me a while to put together these videos after those 7 months have passed, so I just want to move on to different projects now. So with that all said, I hope you all enjoyed this playthrough of Portal. I know I did. And with that all said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.